Mezun TV'den herkese merhaba. Size şu anda Hilton Otel'in 9. katından sesleniyoruz. Yanımda çok değerli bir konuğum var. Kendisi St. George Üniversitesi'nde Vice Provost of International Program Development title'ıyla bugün buraya geldi ve 60'tan fazla öğrenci ve anne babaya çok güzel bir seminer verdi. Şimdi kendisine St. George Üniversitesi hakkında sorular soracağım. Hi Cal, welcome to our show. I would like to ask you first about the location of St. George University. I think we can see it from here, but I would like to hear from you. And also, can you please give us a brief history of the university?
Well, it's a pleasure being in Istanbul. It's a beautiful city, and our university is based on the very peaceful, quiet island of Grenada, which is in the southern Caribbean. But that's where the physical university is based. The programs that we run, we also have administrative offices in the UK and in New York. And our students pursue some of their time in medicine or veterinary medicine in Grenada. Otherwise, after their basic sciences, they can go on to do their clinical training in the US, Canada, and the UK. So they can get a very international flavor of medicine as it's practiced in the world today.
That's one of the actually advantages that a student can get by coming to St. George University in Grenada instead of going anywhere else.
Well, there's many advantages. The students actually come from all over the world. So they will get a very rich diversity of a student body. They will learn from each other the religious differences, the cultural differences that exist in the world, and our faculty also come from all over the world.
I have also a question that I know you will be giving great news about, very good news to our students, our viewers, is about scholarships. I know you would like to increase international students on your campus, and you have great scholarship offers. Could you please give us a little bit of details about your scholarships?
Absolutely. Most of our international students receive scholarships, up to about 30-40% every year. And when they apply to us, they will be told exactly what their scholarship package is going to be up front.
And the percentage of international students gaining scholarship is pretty high.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Most of our international students receive scholarships. We understand that exchange rates change. They can't borrow money from the government as easily as the United States students, and so we give them scholarships.
That's how you show that you would like to increase international students on campus, by providing 30 to sometimes 40% every year, and they will know about this when they got accepted.
Right, they will know exactly what scholarship they're going to get for the 4-year program. So the scholarships they will receive every year from when they enter the university.
I would like to ask you about how the entry point works, because you were talking about, there's pre-med and then they can go move on, but depending on their degree and what they studied, they can actually, instead of getting 3-year pre-med, they can go 2-year or 1 year, or sometimes they don't even have to go to pre-med.
Right, so the medical program in the United States is based on getting a bachelor's degree, and then it's a 4-year program after you have a bachelor's degree, or better, sometimes masters or PhDs. We realized if we wanted to reach an international audience, that in some countries, including Turkey, you don't go to medical school after you get a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, in Turkey that's not the case. Yeah.
Right, so you enter immediately, you finish high school, and you go into a 6-year program here in Turkey. It'd be the same with us. So we have a 4-year program for those with bachelor's degrees, a 5-year program if you have the IB or A levels, a 6-year program if you've just left Turkish high school, and a 7-year program if you have O levels, which is before the end of high school.
Yeah, let me repeat this to our viewers. If they're just getting out of high school, they actually go exactly as Turkey. They go 3-year or 2-year pre-med, 2-year pre-med, and then 4-year for
correct
the medical degree.
And they're in the MD program, they're just in a 6-year MD program. So to progress on, they just have to pass the required courses every year, and they don't ever have to apply again. They're in the 6-year MD program.
And when they get out of the MD program now, what they can do, where can they become a doctor?
Well, with medicine, when you finished your MD, you still have to do internships or residencies. So it's postgraduate training. So if you want to become a surgeon, it's another 5 years. Family medicine, family practice is 3 years. So different specialties, different lengths of additional training years once you qualified as a doctor.
And that's after MD.
After your MD.
Now you could become a medical doctor, then you would be going to just get to the next part, and that could be 5 years. Could it be shorter?
It depends which specialty you want to choose. So if you want to go into surgery, you can't shorten it. It is 5 years.
It is 5 years. And I know that you're placing a lot of students to US and as doctors. And can you please also give us a little bit more about that?
Yes, well, our students come from around the world, and we know that they're practicing medicine around the world in 50 different countries today, including Turkey. So our students come from the world and they go back to the world. And the remarkable story is that our university has placed more doctors in the US healthcare system than all but 10 US medical schools. So we are probably the 11th largest provider of physicians to the US healthcare system.
And this is every year you're actually really doing this for US and UK and many other countries, but the US is a phenomenal success rate.
The US, Canada, the UK, Botswana, Trinidad are our biggest markets, and that's where the students go back to practice medicine.
And just to make sure they can come back to Turkey and still use their degree as here.
They will have to go through, I assume, local exams before they go back to any country. Nearly every country medical council will put an examination in place just to make sure they're familiar with all the local clinical problems and issues that they're going to face.
Sure. But like if they go to US, they have to go get the exam, right? That to become the GP.
Yes, they have to. At the end of their basic science training, they have to take the United States medical licensing exam. You have to do that whether you're at a US medical school or an international school. So if you were at a medical school here in Turkey, you could also sit that exam. The great thing about our program is that our students have a 96-97% first-time pass rate.
On the US exam.
On the US exam.
That's a very important number. So over 95% of your students actually are passing the US exam, the licensing exam, to become a general practitioner.
That's on their first attempt.
On their first attempt. That's a very high rate.
Yes, it's very gratifying to us because we take students from, say, 40 different countries. English may not be their first language. They might have never seen multiple choice questions. And yet within 2 or 3 years, they will be surpassing their US counterparts on their standardized exam.
I also know that you have great philosophy, and the way that the school, the teachers are, getting over the courses. First of all, I would like to ask you about the system where you make sure they understand before the teacher moves on about the topic. You have clickers and iPhone apps or Android apps for that. Can you please tell us a little about that?
Yeah, I think the mode of education is moving very quickly. So we have a system to help our faculty learn how to teach more effectively. One of those approaches is to find out whether your students are keeping up with the content that you're giving them. And we'll put a question on the screen, and it will be up there for 75 seconds. The students will answer it. The answer will appear instantly.
On the screen?
On the screen, and if 95% of the students have got that question right, 5% of the class is worried that they're falling behind. So they're getting some feedback of where they're at. If 95% of the students get it wrong, then the professor knows they need to address that topic a little more carefully. So it's a great feedback for the professor and it's great feedback for the students.
Instantly to know that they got this concept, or they understood it or not, which is also very, very good to make sure that they do know what's going on. And they will actually, this would kind of make them more listening to the topic so that they can answer and then they can show the rate. They know that they'll be asked a question.
That's correct. And because you're using class time, you want to ask the most important questions for your students because it's a professional degree.
Yeah.
So you don't want to ask some tiny little details in your course. You want to ask them major concepts so that you get to know whether the students are following along with the most important aspects of your course.
Now, about philosophy, teaching philosophy, we were talking before and you mentioned that which I really agreed a lot with, is like sometimes doctors don't, care about the human side of the story, and sometimes what happens is I'm hearing, and I have been through that too, experience too, is like what you feel as a patient is more important than your results or your test results. So there's a human interaction there where the doctors are kind of also psychologists. They should really be psychologists before being anything else, because that person is out there panicking and trying to get better, and this is really a problem. And I know at St. George this is something that you're really giving good importance to. Could you please talk about that?
Yeah, I think from the very beginning, medicine's been a compassionate profession. Patients will come to you and reveal their most intimate details. They're usually very nervous, they're concerned about their condition, so they're very vulnerable. The last thing they need is somebody not to listen to what they have to say. So good physicians learn to listen, learn to take information from their patients, and to make sure that they answer their patients in a very considered way. There are many online applications today which are helping them. For instance, there are ways in which patients with long-term chronic diseases like multiple sclerosis, for example, can get a tablet, and every day they will record their clinical condition. They will meet with their physician after 3 months, and the physician will ask, could they see their records? And if they agree, then they can share the records, and the doctor will ask, so how have you been? And the patient quite often will not remember events that happened 2 or 3 months ago. So there's a great example of where technology and listening and paying attention to your patient's needs is really being utilized today. There are many stories of doctors asking their residents, so how is the patient? And the doctor will reply, well, his platelet level is normal, his blood pressure is normal, but how is the patient? Well, his hematocrit is fine. But how is your patient? And they will often look quite puzzled. What he's asking is, did he wake up? Is he feeling well? Is he okay? And so these are things that we try and make sure that our doctors are very familiar with.
Whatever you do a patient, if they're not feeling positive, they're not going to really get better easily, right? I mean, it's all starts with the mind, and the doctors should really know that. And if they are being taught this way at St. George University, this is really very good, doing very good for the students, for the humanity after they graduate. So really, thanks a lot for that, providing that information for us. And I would like to thank you again. Please come to Istanbul again and be our guest.
I will. I really enjoy being here.
Evet sevgili seyirciler, bugün Cal ile güzel bir sohbet ettik. Özellikle St. George Üniversitesi'nin Karayipler'deki Granada adasında bulunan St. George Üniversitesi'nin özelliklerinden bahsettik. Çok önemli bir felsefesinden bahsettik. Sadece başarılı, analitik olarak çok yüksek not almış kişilerden oluşan doktorlar değil, hem başarılı hem de insanlık adına hastasının psikolojisinden anlayan ve ona pozitif olmayı bir şekilde anlatabilen ve bu konuda dikkatli olan doktorlar yetiştirmeyi hedefleyen bir üniversitemiz St. George Üniversitesi'ni size tanıttık. Bize izlemeye devam edin. Şimdilik size hoşça kalın diyoruz.